The moment the official decree of blockade of interstellar technology for the solar system came from the heights of the Galactic Council, the entire world was plunged into an unprecedented sense of isolation and betrayal. The message, broadcast simultaneously on all communication channels, from mega-corporate news feeds to street holographic boards, sounded like a verdict. Earth, as of this hour, will no longer have access to the technology that controls star transitions, navigation systems, and intergalactic communications. Shock and bewilderment were replaced by panic as world leaders, scientists, and military commanders tried to comprehend the magnitude of the act. In the academic classrooms of universities, the possible causes and ulterior motives of the council were debated, and on the streets of metropolitan cities, people wondered, what next? A few hours later, in an atmosphere of tense silence, amid the alarming sounds of sirens and emergency horns, an emergency council of representatives of the leading powers, corporations, and scientific institutions was convened at the highest levels of government to find a way to resist the imposed exile. In the halls of secret government centers, furnished with screens with code ciphers and complex mathematical algorithms, an idea was born, which in the following decades was to change the fate of mankind. Upon learning of the ban, a group of leading scientists and military strategists immediately came together to develop a project called New Dawn. Its essence was to create a completely new way to the stars, based on the principles of quantum mechanics, alternative energy, and innovative control systems. At a time when technological superiority was considered an unattainable pinnacle, people were forced to search for answers in the depths of their creativity, combining ancient knowledge with the most advanced theories. Here, behind ancient folios, on the yellowed pages of forgotten works, together with the latest research of scientists of the 21st century, ideas capable of turning the course of history emerged. Secret laboratories, hidden from the eyes of galactic observers, were beginning to produce prototypes, experimental engines, and modified communication systems based on principles previously considered pure theory. Against the backdrop of this historic crisis, when every second could have been catastrophic, the true strength of the human spirit was revealed. While other civilizations had become accustomed to comfort and stability, Earth was forced to rebuild its entire infrastructure, abandon old methods of governance, and create new models of interaction between science, military industry, and government. Despite the desperate pressure, a spark of hope was lit in the hearts of the people. The Council's ban was not a verdict, but a challenge, a stimulus for the rebirth of civilization. It was in these hours that heroes were born, scientists, engineers, and warlords, who, knowing no fear, rushed into battle for the future of the planet. Ideas born in the darkness of despair soon turned into the first successful experiments. Quantum engines, allowing to move in seconds across vast distances, prototypes of new weapons capable of neutralizing threats from alien civilizations, and communication systems capable of overcoming any galactic barriers. Thus began a new era, an era in which Exile became the springboard for the great transformation of humanity, and every thought, every action took on meaning in the struggle for survival and greatness. Words of determination resounded in the meeting rooms filled with tense gazes and voices. "We will not allow ourselves to be forgotten," shouted the representatives of the new alliance of scientists and military. Their gazes were full of determination and confidence, and in each of them burned the realization that in this challenge lay the opportunity to rethink everything that seemed unshakable. As the world teetered on the brink of technological collapse, a new paradigm was emerging that could turn the tide of history. People, deprived of their usual resources, began to find new sources of energy in the most unexpected places, from the deep bowels of the Earth to abandoned solar fields, where old installations were reborn under the influence of the latest ideas. In large-scale secret projects, engineers experimented with so-called energy capacitors, capable of storing cosmic radiation and converting it into clean energy. These developments, though sometimes seeming like science fiction, gradually turned into working prototypes, which soon proved their effectiveness on the test fields, where each new formula, each innovation brought long-awaited results. And it seemed that the universe itself began to respond to the challenge of mankind, providing them with fragments of knowledge that once belonged only to the stars. And so, to the sound of restless discussion and exchange of ideas, began an era in which the Council's ban became the catalyst for the creation of a new path to the stars, a path where every test, every difficulty only tempered the will and strength of the human spirit, heralding the birth of a future galactic superpower. The new laboratories scattered across the globe became a forge of innovation and daring experiments in secret complexes, carefully hidden from the eyes of both internal traders and keenly observant representatives of galactic control. Scientists and engineers worked day and night, using the remaining resources to develop fundamentally new technologies. The New Dawn project became an amalgamation of minds capable of rethinking the laws of physics and creating a technological platform that would one day challenge the galaxy itself. In these laboratories were tested experimental quantum engines, which, according to calculations of the best theorists, could make it possible to move between star systems, bypassing the traditional limitations of classical mechanics. Each new idea, each discovery was confirmed in numerous experiments, where the result did not just meet expectations, but exceeded them many times. Engineers, armed with knowledge of past eras and new discoveries, created prototypes of ships whose propulsion systems worked on the principles of transmutation. At a time when many considered Earth an outcast, a forgotten corner of the galaxy, brave explorers began their work on the creation of the first new interstellar ship, called Icarus. This ship became a symbol of human determination and an unbending will to freedom. Icarus not only brought together the best engineers and designers, but also became a place where bold ideas were born and new legends were born. Every node, every system from supercapacitor batteries to plasma turbines was a symbiosis of advanced technologies and ancient knowledge. Carefully thought out and tested in the harsh conditions of Earth, these innovations promised to revolutionize the possibilities of interstellar travel. During the development process, the ship's crew, consisting of the best minds of the planet, conducted endless simulations, practicing tactics, strategy, and new methods of management in conditions where galactic opponents could appear at any moment. Behind the scenes, no less dramatic events unfolded against the backdrop of global crises. Economic turmoil and social unrest caused by unexpected isolation, with new leaders coming to the fore. Among them stood out individuals who possessed both deep scientific knowledge and a strategic flair for seeing beyond the horizon. A legend quickly developed in informal circles that these were the people who could revitalize Earth and give it a chance at a new life, a new era of space dominance. Their secret meetings were held in abandoned bunkers and underground complexes, where, under conditions of complete confidentiality, they discussed projects that could change the very essence of interstellar flights. The strict regime of secrecy and constant tension forced the project participants to work with maximum concentration, because every leak could lead to the inevitable intervention of the Galactic Council. But it was under this pressure that ideas were born that could not only supplant the usual technological paradigms, but also create new ones that would one day lead Earth to the stars. Lively debates, intense calculations, endless nights of experimentation all became part of a new phase of history, when humanity, deprived of the usual benefits, learned to find strength in its own resources. Each new formula, each innovative idea gave a charge of confidence that the Council's prohibition is not the end, but the beginning of a new era, where even the most hopeless conditions become a springboard for great achievements. The New Dawn project was gaining momentum by the day, and soon the first samples of the technology would emerge from under the oppression of the bans and change forever the perception of Earth's space capabilities. As the first experimental ships left Earth's orbit, the growing sense of confidence was gradually replaced by strategic ambition. Now that humanity had learned how to circumvent prohibition, the entire planet became a forge for heroic endeavors and risky maneuvers. Laboratories and factories previously designed for peaceful production were now being repurposed to create a new generation of military and scientific installations. The first test flights became real expeditions into the unknown, where every minute could prove fateful. In the depths of space, among the stellar darkness, the first signs of the presence of the long-forgotten potential of the Earth began to be recorded. The new ships, with fundamentally different architecture and weapon systems, fought not only gravity, but also hostile forces capable of striking from the darkest corners of the galaxy. The first contacts with alien forces were not long in coming. Small patrol squadrons, previously confidently patrolling trade routes and space corridors, suddenly encountered aggressive fleets of representatives of ancient civilizations, whose traditions and military doctrines were far from earthly logic. However, it was these first encounters that showed that human ingenuity and an unquenchable will to win could withstand even the most formidable opponents. On board the Icarus test ship, whose crew consisted of the best minds and fighters, a real battle of wits and technology was unfolding. Every maneuver, every tactical decision was based not only on modern algorithms, but also on intuition, born in the struggle for survival. In conditions where every second could be the last, people used the most unexpected solutions, from changing flight paths to activating experimental defense systems capable of generating energy shields that warp the space around the ship. On the far reaches of the solar system, where the silence and stillness of space had recently reigned supreme, an era of new tests had begun. Pilots, many of whom were recruited from among volunteers with an unyielding faith in the power of the human spirit, practiced the most complex combat maneuvers in conditions as close to reality as possible. Their training was accompanied not only by technical checks, but also by psychological preparation, because each mission required instant decision-making in conditions of extreme uncertainty. New navigation systems, created on the basis of quantum computing, allowed to accurately coordinate the actions of fleets, minimizing the risk of error. It was here, in the vastness of space, that people began to show that even without access to the usual galactic technologies, they were able to create weapons and defenses, not inferior in quality and effectiveness to the systems of long-recognized civilizations. Unexpected tactical decisions made aboard the Icarus repeatedly saved the crew from imminent death, and each successful test was proof that the Council's ban had only pushed humanity to discover new facets of its own power. Along with the development of technology grew the understanding. Each new victory in battle was not only a military success, but also a signal to the entire cosmos. Earth does not give up, Earth fights, and Earth wins. This confidence permeated all walks of life, creating a wave of patriotism and unity that became the foundation for the future galactic superpower. A series of successful trials was soon followed by the first encounter with representatives of an alien civilization, whose intentions initially remained shrouded in mystery. The fleet, formed from the newest ships of Project New Dawn, crossed the border of known space and found itself in an area formerly inhabited by an ancient empire called the Xenarians. These beings, whose culture and technology seemed woven from the very fabric of time, initially perceived the appearance of the Earth ships as a provocation. In the first minutes of contact between the two sides, cold calculating messages were exchanged, with every phrase turning into a threat or a challenge. However, it was in these first minutes that something more than a military confrontation was born. A new form of diplomacy based on mutual respect for the strength of the enemy. Aboard the Icarus, Captain Anastasia Volkova, who possessed unparalleled intuition and a deep knowledge of both military tactics, tactfully entered into a dialogue with the Xenarian representatives. Her words, full of confidence and calmness, became the first bridge to bridge the chasm of distrust between the two civilizations. She confidently declared, "We are not here for war, but for the exchange of knowledge and the search for common paths for the development of our peoples." But even these words could not immediately dispel suspicions for the Xenarian. It was a sign that the Earthlings were indeed capable of using their new technologies not only to attack, but also to create. Meanwhile, in the remote corners of the space frontiers, other Earth ships clashed with small but aggressive factions of aliens eager to seize their newfound technology. These clashes were characterized by fast-paced, almost dance-like battles where human pilots, using unconventional strategies and improvised maneuvers, managed to elude the enemy's superiority. Each such victory was like a small spark, igniting a fire of confidence within the new fleet. There was a certainty in the air that even in the shadow of inhibitions and isolation lay great potential to change the course of galactic history. Communicating through encrypted messages, representatives of both sides exchanged information on the latest technical innovations and tactics. Thus, behind the outwardly hostile cover, a form of space diplomacy was born, in which each side tried to show its true face, not the face of an aggressor, but the face of an explorer and creator. It was this moment that became the turning point. The aliens, observing the unorthodox tactics of the Earthlings, began to realize that their ideas about human civilization were deeply flawed. What was considered primitive and backward turned out to be strategic moves capable of dramatically changing the outcome of any conflict. And while initial contacts remained tense, within a few months, a new concept was born, one in which galactic interaction was based on mutual benefit and the exchange of technologies capable of raising both civilizations to a new stage of development. At the same time on Earth, in the central headquarters of the New Dawn project, analysts were tracking every event with amazement, recording the smallest details. Each success and each failure became part of a vast mosaic that would eventually lead humanity to galaxy-wide recognition. The decisions made under extreme pressure were a model of strategic flexibility and scientific approach, allowing for a rethinking of established dogma. People realized that in order to win, one must not only possess the power of arms, but also the ability to think outside the box, to find new ways where there seemed to be no way out. This philosophy penetrated into the very essence of the new interstellar fleet, uniting its members into a single unit capable of overcoming any obstacles. The emergence of a new era of human expansion was accompanied not only by military action, but also by revolutionary scientific breakthroughs that forever changed perceptions of the nature of the universe. In secret research centers located on orbital stations and abandoned space platforms, scientists conducted experiments using exotic particles and unidentified forms of energy capable of answering the question of the essence of the cosmic vacuum. The main discovery was the creation of the so-called quantum bridge technology, which allows to instantly travel vast distances by using the principles of quantum entanglement and tunneling. This discovery, which marked a new era in research, became a fundamental stone in the construction of an interstellar fleet, allowing to reduce the time of movement of ships from several decades to a few hours. Behind the scenes of grandiose scientific projects, a veritable game of wits was unfolding. In laboratories where time seemed to stand still, Earth's best physicists and mathematicians were working to turn abstract theories into tangible technologies. Inspired by the ancient legends of men who could rewrite the laws of nature, they worked against all odds to prove that prohibition was not a judgment, but a challenge to the human mind. Each new formula, each calculation made on superpower, quantum supercomputers brought them closer to the dream of free flight to the stars. In parallel with scientific breakthroughs, military exercises aimed at practicing the latest tactical schemes in conditions as close as possible to the real combat situation continued. Instructors, many of whom had themselves taken part in the first skirmishes with hostile forces, trained pilots to operate experimental ships equipped with innovative navigation and defense systems. Each test was accompanied not only by technical checks, but also by psychological testing, because every mistake could turn into a catastrophe, not only for the crew, but also for the entire Earth. Thus, in conditions of constant readiness and extreme tension, a new military doctrine of hybrid warfare was born, where the traditional concepts of attack and defense ceased to play a decisive role, giving way to a strategy of rapid response and adaptation to the ever-changing conditions of battle. The results of the tests were stunning. The new ships, capable of easily bypassing enemy defenses and instantly changing their position in space, gave mankind the opportunity not only to protect its borders, but also to go on the offensive. Already, the first demonstration flights along space corridors, previously considered enemy territory, turned into real epics of courage and genius. Clear signals of success were transmitted to headquarters around the world, creating a wave of optimism that was soon to culminate in a powerful offensive against the forces trying to keep the Earth trapped in delusion. Each new test, each successful mission became proof that it was in these trying times that human genius could turn exile into the greatest opportunity for the rebirth of civilization. Under the light of distant stars and in the silence of the intergalactic expanses, a true revolution unfolded, in which prohibition became the fuel for an unprecedented technological leap, and human courage became the instrument capable of rewriting the laws of the universe. The first signs of the active offensive of the human fleet began to be recorded on the borders of known space systems, where the presence of Earth had previously been almost invisible. The ships developed on the basis of the quantum bridge technology, united in the first interstellar squadron, were making the first maneuvers in deep space, confidently cutting through space like hot knives through the dense fog of galactic systems. Discipline, unity, and mutual trust reigned in these units, the result of years of training under conditions where every second could mean the difference between life and death. The first contact with hostile forces occurred in space near the planetary ring of the Alpha Centauri system, where discovered alien ships belonging to a long-forgotten empire sought to keep their territories clear of uninvited guests. The situation quickly became heated. Against the backdrop of twinkling stars and endless space vacuum, a real battle for the right to existence and independence began. Earth ships, using fundamentally new tactical schemes, deftly bypassed the enemy's defense systems, while simultaneously making pinpoint strikes at strategically important nodes. Each shot, each maneuver was calculated to the smallest detail, as if the universe itself was responding to the call of human genius. Squadron Commander, Officer Viktor Sokolov, who possessed cold calculation and incredible intuition, managed to anticipate the enemy's actions, using data from advanced quantum sensors capable of reading the smallest changes in energy fields. His team, working in perfect tandem, demonstrated the highest level of coherence, thanks to which even the most powerful enemy installations did not have time to adapt to sudden attacks. Each new success in battle not only increased confidence in victory, but also served as proof that the ban on technology could not break the human spirit, but only awakened in it an inexhaustible desire for innovation. At this crucial moment, the boundaries between science and warfare were erased, giving way to synthesis, where every new idea became a deadly weapon and every development a shield capable of protecting millions of lives. Earth scientists who had previously worked on theoretical problems were now demonstrating, in real combat situations, that their discoveries could change the course of battle. Systems that had previously seemed like science fiction were becoming a reality, allowing fleets to accomplish the impossible by moving instantly through star clusters, bypassing gravity traps, and attacking with unprecedented precision. Thus, in the thick of the space battle, when the lines of light and energy merged into a single picture of chaos and genius, it became clear: man, facing the eternal cosmic threats, found a way not only to survive, but to emerge victorious from any confrontation. Each victory, each successful application of the latest technologies became the building blocks of a new era, in which the Earth again asserted its right to exist and develop, turning from a pariah into a real force capable of changing the fate of the entire galaxy. As the scale of success of the first offensive operations became apparent, the Galactic Council began to noticeably change its perception of humanity. The representatives of ancient civilizations, accustomed to self-confidence and a monopoly on interstellar technology, were forced to reconsider their dogmas. Many voices in the Council, previously inclined to believe that Earth would remain forever in the shadows, were now beginning to realize that humanity was capable of unimaginable achievements, if only given the chance to show its ingenuity. Secret meetings to discuss strategic measures to further isolate Earth were gradually being replaced by calls for dialogue and a renegotiation of the terms of existence in the galactic community. At the center of these events was a new leader chosen from among the most prominent military and political figures, General Mikhail Artyomov. His charismatic personality and determination, combined with a deep understanding of modern technology and strategy, made him a symbol of a new stage in human history. Artyomov not only possessed incredible fortitude, but was also a master negotiator, capable of changing the course of diplomatic negotiations in a matter of minutes. He actively advocated cooperation, proposing the Plan of the Union, a set of measures that provided not only military protection, but also the exchange of technology and scientific discoveries between Earth and representatives of other civilizations. His speeches, filled with confident optimism and unwavering faith in a bright future, were beginning to change the minds of even the most hardened skeptics on the Council. Against the backdrop of these transformations, a new phase of diplomacy began, where every word, every proposal could become decisive. General Artyomov, together with a group of senior officers and diplomats, put forward an initiative to open a channel of communication with representatives of those civilizations that had previously acted as aggressors. The purpose of this initiative was not only to ease tensions, but also to demonstrate the strength and confidence of Earth, which could now offer a partnership based on a mutually beneficial exchange of knowledge and resources. In meeting rooms where previously there had been orders for total isolation, words of cooperation began to be heard, of joining forces to create a new order in which each race could contribute to the common prosperity of the galaxy. This new wave of diplomacy did not go unnoticed. On the far reaches of space, home to races with a long history of military conflict and interstellar intrigue, the first changes began to take place. Representatives of ancient civilizations, seeing the determination and technological progress of Earth, began to cautiously enter into negotiations, realizing that the old methods of suppression no longer work. Diplomatic missions conducted under the auspices of the new alliance brought results that previously seemed unthinkable: exchange of scientific data, joint exercises, even joint participation in space expeditions. These events were not only proof of the strength of the human spirit, but also a signal to the entire galaxy that Earth, once rejected and isolated, was ready to step up to a new level of equal participant in the space community. While diplomats and military leaders negotiated, the laboratories continued to work tirelessly to improve technology. New weapons capable of generating energy previously considered unavailable began to show record levels of efficiency. Joint experiments between Earth and alien scientists opened the door to a completely different understanding of cosmic laws. These scientific advances not only strengthened Earth's defenses, but also became a powerful negotiating point, demonstrating that human potential could be a boon to the entire galactic community. Thus, in the maelstrom of change, diplomacy and science went hand in hand, creating the conditions for peaceful coexistence and mutual development, where the Council's ban was gradually becoming an outdated dogma, and a new era of cooperation was ushering in a great age. The confrontation reached its peak when a large-scale space battle broke out in one of the remote sectors of space, in which the forces of the New Earth fleet clashed with the combined fleets of hostile civilizations trying to regain control over key interstellar routes. This battle, set against a backdrop of bright supernovae and myriads of twinkling stars, was a test not only for technology, but also for the human spirit, courage, and ability to act in extreme conditions. Each ship, created by the innovative technologies of the New Dawn project, participated in the battle with maximum dedication, demonstrating superiority in maneuverability, firepower, and the ability to quickly adaptive response. Fleet commanders exchanged tactical signals that clearly showed the synergy between the new control algorithms and the intuitive command developed by years of training. Energy beams ripped through the darkness of space and collided with impenetrable shields, warping the space around the ships and creating the illusion of a dance of light and shadow. In this choreography of chaos and destruction, human genius manifested itself in all its manifestations, from the instant analysis of enemy maneuvers to the use of innovative countermeasures based on the principles of quantum uncertainty. The pilots on the front lines displayed a rare combination of equanimity and frenzy that was characteristic only of those who know that the fate of millions of lives depends on it. With each successful maneuver, they not only repelled attacks, but struck blows that forced the enemy to retreat, as if frightened by a sudden glimpse of human courage. Strategic calculations, developed on the basis of the latest quantum models, allowed to anticipate the course of the battle several steps ahead, which gave the Earth fleet a decisive advantage in this large-scale clash. Simultaneously with active combat operations on the front line, in the command centers of the land bases were carried out the most complex calculations on the management of combat units, coordination of their actions, and adjustment of tactical plans in real time. Each new message coming from the battlefields was analyzed with astonishing speed, and in a few seconds, updated battle plans appeared on the screens, allowing to quickly adapt to the ever-changing conditions. In these conditions, where every second was crucial, the human mind demonstrated its ability to make instant decisions, sometimes outperforming even the most sophisticated artificial intelligence algorithms. The battle reached a climax when the outcome of the battle seemed to hang in the balance. Against a backdrop of explosions, flying debris, and energy flashes, the commander of one of the key ships, Officer Elena Morozova, made a fateful decision that changed the entire dynamics of the battle. Using an experimental control system developed as part of the New Dawn project, she initiated a series of maneuvers that moved the ship, as if bending space, to the rear of the enemy. This move, which became a symbol of unpredictability and genius of human tactics, caused a chain reaction. The other ships of the fleet, picking up the idea, began to act with even greater coherence and speed. Each blow, each counterstrike became not just a reflection of enemy aggression, but a real statement that humanity, despite all the prohibitions and deprivations, is ready not just to defend, but to attack with such force that can overturn the galactic balance of power. This battle, remembered for its scale and drama, was the turning point of the moment when hostile factions first felt the full power of the New Earth fleet, and where fear of the unknown gave way to respect for human genius and courage. After the crushing victory in the space battle, a wave of optimism swept not only the Earth fleet commanders, but the entire world. The energy of triumph, from which literally vibrated every cell of matter, became the nourishing ground for further transformations. Humanity, having experienced such a dramatic reversal in its fortunes, was finally beginning to realize that the banishment imposed by the Galactic Council had been the catalyst for incredible accomplishments and innovations. In the light of new victories and scientific discoveries, previous notions of the invincibility of alien civilizations began to crumble, giving way to an understanding that humanity could become an equal participant in the cosmic community if it could unite its efforts and use the knowledge it had acquired. In the capitals of the world, at private meetings of the highest government circles, new strategies and prospects for further expansion were being discussed. General Mikhail Artyomov, whose name had already become a symbol of a new era, once again made speeches in which he spoke of the need for cooperation, scientific exchange, and integration of the efforts of all forces, capable of raising the Earth to a new level. His words, full of determination and confidence, became a motto for millions of people striving to prove that the Council's ban was only a temporary obstacle that could be overcome with willpower, genius, and unshakable faith in the future. In parallel with diplomatic efforts, work continued on integrating the latest technologies into the planet's defense system. Scientific teams working under strict secrecy issued regular reports on successful tests of experimental engines, navigation systems, and power plants. These achievements not only strengthened Earth's defense capabilities, but also created the prerequisites for the beginning of active interstellar expansion. The new ships, equipped with systems that allowed them to react instantly to threats, were no longer simply repelling enemy attacks, but were becoming offensive units capable of conducting parallel operations on several fronts simultaneously. Special attention was also paid to the cultural sphere, because in order to become a true superpower, not only military and technological superiority is necessary, but also harmonious development of civilization. Courses on interstellar diplomacy, quantum mechanics, and tactical thinking were actively introduced in the new educational programs developed by joint efforts of the world's leading universities and scientific centers. Inspired by the examples of heroic feats and technological breakthroughs, young people were very enthusiastic about learning new disciplines, becoming future leaders, engineers, and researchers. Thus, against the background of rapid technological development and large-scale military victories, a new concept of a united Earth was born, capable not only of resisting external threats, but also of conducting an active dialogue with representatives of other civilizations. World leaders, united around the idea of a common future, began to build systems of cooperation, information exchange, and technological support. The result was a new alliance based on the principles of equality, mutual respect, and the pursuit of shared prosperity. This alliance became a powerful tool that allowed humanity not only to defend its independence, but also to take a leading position in the galactic community. Each new victory, each discovery, achieved as a result of coordinated actions and high technology, became another brick in the foundation of the future galactic superpower. People realized that the path begun in exile could lead them to heights they could only dream of before. And though the road was long and full of trials, every step, every achievement confirmed the truth. Even in the darkest of circumstances, when it seems that the whole cosmos is against you, human genius and determination can light the way to a bright future. In light of recent diplomatic successes and scientific breakthroughs, it was time to actively move deeper into galactic space. New interstellar expeditions organized under the ambitious Alliance Plan have set out to explore distant systems previously inaccessible due to Earth's technological isolation. Equipped with advanced quantum navigation systems and experimental power plants, the crews of these ships traveled beyond the boundaries of familiar outer space, opening new horizons and resources for humanity. Each mission was accompanied not only by scientific discoveries, but also by risky encounters with unknown threats, where every second could become decisive. The expedition's commander, Officer Alexander Romanov, known for his strategic thinking and coolness in the most extreme situations, led operations in areas where only rumors and legends had previously prevailed. His team, assembled from the best specialists in various fields from astrophysics to interstellar tactics, became a model of how the synthesis of scientific knowledge and military training can lead to real breakthroughs. During one of the expeditions, the ship encountered an anomalous structure, which, according to assumptions, could be the remains of an ancient civilization capable of manipulating time and space. This discovery became a sensation, opening a new page in the history of mankind. The research team, rallying around the idea of learning the unknown, began to study the mysterious object. Every meter, every scanner, recorded data that at first seemed contradictory and incomprehensible, but with each new iteration of calculations became more and more clear. The scientists quickly realized that what they had in front of them was not just an artifact of ancient technology, but a key to understanding the principles that could forever change the methods of interstellar travel. Experiments were conducted in the laboratories in orbit, with early results indicating the possibility of creating stable energy fields capable of forming tunnels in space. These tunnels, according to theoretical calculations, could allow ships to travel between star systems almost instantaneously, bypassing the usual limitations of time and space. At the same time as scientific research, military preparations were underway, because along with the peaceful exploration of new territories, there were those who could take advantage of these discoveries for profit. Control over such technologies would mean an undeniable advantage that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Military commands around the world watched the research team's every move closely, preparing for possible conflicts and building defense lines around the new facilities. Strategists were analyzing data, making forecasts and developing tactical scenarios so that, if necessary, they could quickly deploy the latest technologies on the battlefield. All this took place against the backdrop of a general rise in national spirit and confidence in the future. Every news of scientific discovery or military success signaled to millions of people around the globe that exile and prohibition were only temporary trials, and that the true strength of humanity lay in its ability to learn, create, and win. People had renewed faith in their future, in the fact that even the most unpredictable challenges could be overcome if they worked together and strove for a common goal. This sentiment permeated every aspect of life, from the highest echelons of power to the most ordinary citizens, awakening in them a determination and desire for change that could turn the tide of history. When the latest technologies and discoveries related to quantum tunnels began to be successfully put into practice, the large-scale expansion of mankind entered a decisive phase. The first interstellar colonies began to appear in previously unexplored corners of space, where harsh conditions and hostile environments were defeated thanks to the continuous innovation and persistence of Earth engineers. Each new ship leaving Earth's orbit became a symbol of the unyielding will to survive and progress, and each mission proof that human genius could overcome even the most impenetrable obstacles. Colonizers sent to distant worlds faced challenges ranging from extreme climatic conditions to encounters with previously unknown life forms. However, their training, based on experience from previous combat operations and scientific experiments, allowed them to adapt quickly and find unexpected solutions. The new settlements were built on the principle of modular architecture, where each piece of infrastructure could be quickly modernized and adapted to local conditions. These settlements became not only strongholds of civilization, but also laboratories for further technological experiments, where the success of each project determined the future of the entire galaxy. Among the first colonies stood out a base established on a planet called New Evolution. Here, against a backdrop of majestic landscapes and harsh natural conditions, scientists and engineers worked together to integrate the latest technologies into everyday life. Autonomous power supply systems based on quantum capacitors and alternative energy sources were developed to provide the base with everything it needed for life and research. In an environment where every resource was worth its weight in gold, innovations that made it possible to optimally utilize even the smallest reserves became the key to success and survival. The locals, faced with the arrival of an Earth civilization, were at first wary of the new settlers. Soon, however, evidence of the technological superiority and humanitarian focus of Earth's initiatives alleviated their initial distrust. At the same time, the exchange of knowledge and experience that took place between Earthlings and local life forms opened new horizons for both sides. Earth scientists not only studied local biosystems and natural phenomena, but also introduced their technologies that could improve living conditions on the planet. Thus, under the guidance of the best minds on Earth, a new model of interaction was being created on the basis of new evolution, a model in which technological progress went hand in hand with respect for nature and the cultural traditions of the local inhabitants. This period was a time of great hope and expectation. Amidst the growing connection between Earth colonies and successful scientific breakthroughs, there was a renewed realization that exile and blockade were only temporary obstacles to greatness. Humanity, which had managed to transform its difficulties into a source of strength and inspiration, looked confidently to a future where every star, every new world was not an unattainable dream, but a concrete goal that could be conquered by force of will, knowledge, and unity. At this moment, a new legend was born, the legend of how the banning of the solar system became the starting point for the rebirth and transformation of the Earth into a true galactic superpower. The new challenges and opportunities that arose from the successful expansion were the prerequisite for the formation of a unique alliance between various Earth institutions, from scientific academies to military commands, and joining forces to fight for common ideals. This alliance, informally named the New Alliance, represented a confluence of all forces aimed at furthering humanity's advancement in space. Against the backdrop of growing integration between different sectors of society, the process of reforming the entire management system began, with traditional bureaucratic structures giving way to flexible, decentralized, and high-tech management models. The leaders of the New Alliance understood that in order to maintain the positions they had gained and continue their way to the stars, it was necessary to create conditions under which each organization, each laboratory, and each squad could work in full synergy. New control algorithms were developed, using quantum computing capabilities for instant information processing and decision-making based on the analysis of huge amounts of data. Such an approach allowed to promptly respond to any threats and challenges, be it aggression from hostile civilizations or unforeseen natural phenomena in new colonies. As part of the reform, many collaborative projects were created to integrate technology and share expertise among scientists, engineers, and military specialists. One such project was the ambitious Plan Helios, which aimed not only to expand technological capabilities, but also to develop new forms of energy supply capable of powering interstellar ships and bases in the farthest reaches of space. Through close cooperation between different institutions, record performance has been achieved, transforming traditional energy systems into dynamic and adaptive complexes capable of operating in the most extreme conditions. In the international arena, previously dominated by old patterns and dogmas, a new trend of global integration and cooperation is emerging. Earth diplomats, inspired by the success of the New Alliance, actively promoted the ideas of openness and mutual assistance, convincing both their fellow citizens and representatives of alien civilizations that joint development and knowledge sharing would bring mutual benefits. These ideas resonated even among those who had previously been skeptical of Earth's capabilities, and gradually began to form a new system of interstellar interaction, where each race could count on support and cooperation in exchange for their unique achievements. As the space arena became more and more like an arena for testing the human spirit and technological ingenuity, the New Alliance became a bastion of hope and a symbol of unity. By joining forces, humans were able not only to defend their conquests, but also to lay the foundation for a future in which Earth would play a leading role in galactic governance. Each new achievement, whether it was the launch of another interstellar ship or the signing of a cooperation agreement with representatives of ancient civilizations, became another step towards ensuring that the ban on the solar system would remain just a dark page in the annals of the past, and the future of Earth would be marked by a new round of development and prosperity. Each new success of the New Alliance and its expansion into space carried a powerful message to the galaxy that even in the most desperate of circumstances, human courage, creativity, and determination can turn the tide of history. The Galactic Council, observing the rapid advancement of Earth's technology and consolidation of its position in the cosmic arena, gradually began to change its attitude toward the isolated planet. Despite the initial act of scorn and condemnation, it became clear that Earth was not only capable of surviving exile, but of succeeding where other civilizations had failed. The internal reforms initiated by the new alliance not only created an effective system of governance, but also built mechanisms for the constant exchange of information and innovation, so that every new idea could be quickly put into practice. Scientists, engineers, and military specialists working side by side proved that the synergy of different fields of knowledge is capable of generating revolutionary technologies that can change the very foundations of existence in the universe. Under these conditions, even the most ambitious plans, from colonizing distant worlds to creating interstellar portals, turned into real projects backed by solid scientific data and practical experience. Against the backdrop of these transformations, a new generation of leaders emerged, young, ambitious, and absolutely dedicated to the idea of joining forces for the common good. They inspired their contemporaries and continued the tradition established by the first heroes of the New Dawn era. Their energy and drive for change were the source of the inexhaustible faith that Earth would soon be able not only to regain its lost ground, but to become a driving force for the entire galactic community. These leaders, with their deep knowledge and innovative thinking, formed strategic plans that took into account not only military and technological aspects, but also cultural and humanitarian development. Each new achievement, whether it was another experiment in creating a sustainable interstellar tunnel or the signing of a historic treaty of mutual assistance with representatives of other civilizations, was a vivid confirmation that the ban on the solar system had turned from a tool of pressure into a powerful incentive for rebirth. Earth, once rejected by the galactic community, now confidently asserted its right to exist and develop, and its successes became an example to all who had ever doubted the power of the human spirit. This period was marked not only by technological and military victories, but also by profound cultural transformations that opened a new page in the annals of civilization, where the union of science, military valor, and human wisdom became the basis for building a future in which the boundaries of the possible are constantly expanding.